Not to worry, I'm not going to sing. So I was installed as the senior minister of Unity on the Bay this past October. I've been there on staff for 18 years, and I've been a part of the community for 21. So, 18 and 21, I've been joking that I'm really adulting now there, which is really true because it's really grown me, that spiritual community. It's so special. It's a community that has been around since 1927. I just imagine all the tens of thousands of individuals who have been touched, comforted, and felt connected to the principles that we teach. I believe that it is mystical and it is metaphysical Christianity, and it reminds us that we are all the presence of the divine. And that's really, really special and something to get excited about. And we are excited. So we've gone through the Sizzle Effect. It's a series that invites us to really step into a greater sense of enthusiasm and joy. And it is the opportunity for us to step fully into the power of our own divinity, which is also the power of zeal, so that we can have sustainable joy. Zeal is the enthusiasm for the opportunity to show up as our authentic selves. It is the ability to have the audacity to know that life is happening through us, not to us. And it is the devotion to create heaven on earth. I believe that all of us can truly live into our joy. And I believe that as we allow ourselves to be reconnected to our authentic selves, we will experience a sense of joy that is powerful beyond measure, that people can feel, sense, and experience their joy as we allow ourselves to be authentic in ours. Now, what's really special about that is that it can heal also. So I grew up knowing that I was different in ways that wasn't acceptable. I was gay, I was an undocumented immigrant, and the fear of being found out about those things really made me feel insecure. And I started to hide my authentic self. I hid from myself. But I also realized that I had to hide my insecurities. And in order for me to feel a certain level of joy, see, I felt that there was a limit to how much joy I'd be able to experience in life because of it. But maybe if I was a good student, maybe if I did the things that I was supposed to do, maybe, just maybe, I could experience a little bit of joy. And that's how I began to live a life of the checklist, of creating goals for myself that would make me feel happy because other people would be happy with me. But really, as I grew and the goals changed, my reliance on the checklist never changed. And it was this idea that in order for me to be proud of myself, I had to have others be proud of me. But it really wasn't working. I was suffering, the checklist wasn't enough, and I began to use drugs and alcohol to, well, once again, hide my authentic self. And in those moments of the dark night of the soul, that's when I heard about unity, and that's when I decided to give it a chance. Now, I come from a much more traditional religious background, and so heaven is outside of us, and right there at heaven, God is looking down upon me and judging me, and if God was happy, then I could be happy. And so my joy depended on me making God happy. That's a lot of responsibility. But now I realize that I am the source of my joy, that it is alive within me and that I can unleash it and live it in very powerful ways. And that the more that I'm authentic with myself, the more that I invite others to be in their joy, authentic with themselves. Another aha that I had is that heaven really is at hand. That heaven is something that we can live into. That heaven is something that is true for our lives, as long as we allow ourselves to really step into it, to really acknowledge it, and to unleash everything that we are. Be that authentic self in the world. So I began to experience heaven with others. And as I joined others in sacred service, I realized that as I created my heaven, I was creating slices of heaven for those around me, or at least maybe inviting people more fully to live their own joy, making it easier for them to live their own joy. So I began to explore how I could show up more fully, more powerfully, more consciously with others. And it wasn't anymore about getting acceptance from other people as much as letting other people know that I was celebrating them for who they were. That was the ultimate joy, and that was what brought ultimate fulfillment. Now, I was still a work in progress, and so I felt that there was something pulling me. I knew that I was being called into divine action, but those insecurities, they really show up. I was healing through them. I was growing through them. I evolved through them. But I realized that there was one area of my life where I was still playing it small until I wasn't. Until I released the fears of being true to myself, until I released the limitations that I had set of myself, and I began to trust myself like I had never trusted myself before. My faith in me grew, my faith in my calling grew, and I realized as I lived my truth, my capacity for joy was growing. And that's how I became the minister that I was always intended to be. That is how I started to live my purpose of boldly and compassionately awakening the human family and inviting other individuals to find their good, their joy, and their truth. And I began to explore and realize how sweet it was when, in connection with each other, we became authentic, we gave permission for others to be authentic, and truly began to create heaven together. It's an amazing thing that happens when individuals recognize that heaven is truly a place on earth. Now, there is a unity minister called Eric Butterworth who said that that we are heaven is a place that we are able to show up in. And Eric Butterworth said that we are the windows of heaven and that we are pouring ourselves out into the world. I love that because it makes me realize that as I allow myself to live in heaven, I myself become the windows of heaven, and when we bless, we bliss. So I ask you, how is it that you are meant to be the windows of heaven so that others can experience joy? What is within you, your authentic self, that is asking to be expressed so that other people can express more of their good, more of their joy together? Remember, heaven is truly at hand. Thank you.